Stop checking the mirror. Stop asking the world for proof of what you have already claimed within. The mirror can only show you what you were yesterday. It has no power to reveal what you have decided to be today. Life does not move forward by observation, it moves forward by assumption. Every time you look outside to see if it is working, you confess doubt. You announce that the inner decision was not final. The outer world is not your judge, it is your echo. It cannot move until you do. And when you constantly check for results, you delay them because you remain loyal to the state of not yet having. Living in the end means you no longer seek permission from circumstances. You no longer negotiate with time. You settle the matter internally and allow life to catch up. The moment you know something is done, your behavior changes naturally. Your reactions soften. Your urgency dissolves. You stop forcing outcomes because there is nothing left to force. The mistake most people make is believing that effort creates reality. Effort does not create, identity does. You do not become successful by chasing success. You become successful by assuming the state of one who already is. From that state, the right thoughts arise, the right actions appear, and the right doors open without struggle. Waiting is not about time passing, it is about remaining undecided. When the decision is complete, waiting ends. The seed does not dig itself up to see if it is growing. It rests, and because it rests, it grows. In the same way, once you occupy the end, you must rest in it. Rest is faith in motion. Stop rehearsing the problem. Stop retelling the story of lack, delay, or disappointment. Every repetition keeps the mirror intact. Instead, feel the relief of completion. Feel the calm of having arrived. Let that feeling become familiar, natural, and ordinary. When fulfillment feels normal, the world has no choice but to mirror it. You do not change life by fighting appearances. You change life by withdrawing belief from them. Appearances survive only through attention. Remove your emotional investment and they dissolve. Give your loyalty to the unseen assumption, and the visible must obey. Live as though the answer is settled. Speak as though the decision is final. Walk as though the destination is reached. This is not pretending, this is alignment. When inner truth and outer behavior agree, reality rearranges itself effortlessly. So stop checking the mirror. Stop asking, is it here yet? Live in the end. Become the one who no longer seeks proof, because proof follows certainty, and when certainty becomes your home, the reflection will change. Quietly, naturally, and inevitably, the mirror only reflects, it never creates. This is one of the most liberating truths you can ever accept, because it shifts all power back to where it belongs, within you. A mirror has no opinion, no intention, and no creative force of its own. It simply shows what stands before it. In the same way, the outer world you see each day is not deciding your fate, it is displaying the state you have already occupied internally. When you understand this, you stop arguing with appearances and start shaping the cause instead. Most people try to change their lives by fixing reflections. They work harder, wait longer, push more, and react emotionally to what they see outside. But reacting to the mirror never changes the image. If you frown at your reflection, the mirror frowns back. If you smile, it smiles. The mirror does not choose, it obeys. Life operates on the same principle. Circumstances respond faithfully to your inner assumptions, not to your wishes, hopes, or complaints. The moment you look at the world and ask it to change first, you have misunderstood its role. The world is not your source, it is your feedback. It is showing you what you have been consistently accepting as true about yourself, about others, and about life. Every repeated thought, every emotional pattern, every inner conversation leaves its imprint. Over time, that imprint hardens into experience. What you call reality is simply memory made visible. This is why constantly checking for results keeps you trapped. When you look to the mirror for confirmation, you announce that you believe the reflection has authority. You give creative power to the effect instead of the cause. But the mirror can never lead, it must follow. When you understand this, you stop asking, why hasn't it changed yet? And start asking, what state am I living in now? Creation does not happen in the outer world, it happens in consciousness. The moment you assume a state as true, life begins organizing itself around that assumption. Not instantly visible, not always dramatic, but inevitably. The delay people experience is not time resisting them, it is their own divided attention. They mentally move into a new state, then run back to the mirror to check, doubt, and emotionally react. Each reaction pulls them back into the old image. The mirror teaches patience without effort. You do not stand in front of it shouting commands. You adjust yourself, and the reflection adjusts automatically. In the same way, you do not force life. You realign yourself. The inner shift is the only action required. Once that shift becomes natural, the outer must conform. When you stop trying to correct the reflection, something remarkable happens. Tension disappears. You are no longer at war with what is. You recognize appearances as temporary, not authoritative. They lose their emotional charge, and without emotional resistance, change flows more easily. The mirror responds fastest to calm certainty, not desperate demand. This understanding frees you from blame as well. If the mirror only reflects, then nothing outside is against you. People, events, and conditions are not enemies, they are messengers. They are showing you what you have been assuming, often unconsciously. Instead of resenting the message, you can thank it for revealing the state you need to adjust. Once you truly grasp that the mirror never creates, you stop living reactively. You stop measuring progress by what you see today. You stop giving power to delay. You move inward, where real change occurs, and from that inner decision teaches life how to respond. The world will always reflect you honestly, not instantly, not emotionally, but faithfully. Change the one who stands before. The mirror and the reflection cannot help but change with you. Inner assumption is the only cause, whether you are aware of it or not. Nothing enters your life by accident, chance, or external authority. What appears as circumstances, people, or events is simply the visible expression of an invisible agreement you have already accepted within yourself. Life does not ask what you want, it responds to what you assume to be true. The moment this is understood, responsibility shifts from the outside world back to your inner state, where it has always belonged. An assumption is not a wish or a hope, it is a quiet acceptance, a feeling of this is how things are. It operates beneath conscious effort, shaping perception and reaction. You do not need to repeat it aloud or visualize constantly for it to be effective. The assumption works because it is believed, not because it is spoken. When something feels natural to you, life treats it as a command. Most people believe causes exist outside of them. They blame the economy, other people, timing, or past mistakes, but these are secondary effects, not origins. Two people can face the same conditions and experience entirely different outcomes, not because of luck, but because of different inner assumptions. One expects difficulty and confirms it everywhere. The other assumes ease and moves through the same world with fewer obstacles. The difference is never the world, it is the lens through which it is lived. Inner assumption governs behavior effortlessly. You do not force yourself to act according to what you believe. You act that way naturally. If you assume you are unwanted, you will interpret neutral behavior as rejection and respond defensively or withdrawn. If you assume you are valued, you will read the same behavior as temporary or irrelevant. The outer events may be identical, but the experience and result will not be. This is why affirmations without acceptance fail. Repeating words while secretly assuming the opposite only strengthens the old cause. Life listens to what feels true, not to what is said in desperation. When the inner state is undecided, results remain inconsistent. When the assumption settles, reality reorganizes itself without instruction. Inner assumption also explains repetition. Patterns repeat because the cause has not changed. Different faces, different places, the same outcome. People think they are unlucky, but they are simply loyal to a familiar state. Until that loyalty shifts, life has no option but to recreate the same experience in new forms. Change begins when you stop trying to fix effects and start questioning assumptions. Instead of asking, "Why does this keep happening?" you ask, "What must I be assuming to experience this?" The moment you identify the assumption, you reclaim choice. You realize you are not bound to it, you are just accustomed to it. Replacing an assumption does not require force, it requires acceptance. You gently move into the feeling of the new state and allow it to become familiar. At first, it may feel unnatural, but unfamiliar does not mean false. It simply means it has not yet been practiced. With repetition and emotional consent, the new assumption takes root. Once an assumption becomes dominant, effort disappears. You are no longer trying to believe, you simply do. Your reactions change. Your expectations shift. Opportunities appear where none were noticed before. This is not magic, it is alignment. Life rearranges itself to remain consistent with the state you now occupy. Inner assumption is the only cause because it is the source of perception, interpretation, and response. Change the assumption, and everything downstream must change, not because you demand it, but because life has no other choice. The world is not deciding your experience. It is reflecting your inner decision, faithfully and without exception. Waiting is a state, not a requirement, and understanding this dissolves one of the greatest illusions people live under. Most believe that waiting is something imposed by time, circumstances, or fate. They think they must endure delay before life grants permission for fulfillment. But waiting is not something life demands. It is something the mind adopts. It is an inner posture that quietly declares, "It is not mine yet." And as long as that declaration remains, life has no choice but to agree. Time does not delay outcomes, states do. The moment you feel that something is already yours, waiting ends internally, even if the outer picture has not yet shifted. And when waiting ends within, movement begins without effort. The outer world simply follows the inner decision. What appears as delay is only the period in which the mind wavers between having and not having. Waiting feels passive, but it is actually active creation in the wrong direction. When you wait, you imagine the future more vividly than the present. You place fulfillment somewhere ahead of you, separate from now. That separation becomes the very thing you experience. Life mirrors your stance perfectly. If you stand in not yet, life reflects not yet. It does not punish you, it obeys you. This is why waiting is often filled with anxiety. Anxiety is the emotional signature of waiting. It arises because the mind is stretched between desire and doubt. You want the outcome, but you have not claimed it. You keep checking, watching, and measuring as if attention itself will make it arrive faster. but attention given from waiting only feeds more waiting. True fulfillment does not arrive with tension, it arrives with calm. When something is yours, you are relaxed about it. You do not monitor it constantly. You do not ask for reassurance. You know it exists. That same calm is the state that ends waiting. The inner feeling of completion is what allows the outer to move. Many people fear that if they stop waiting, they will become careless or inactive. In truth, the opposite happens. When waiting ends, inspired action appears naturally. You act not to get, but because you are aligned. Actions taken from waiting feel forced and heavy. Actions taken from fulfillment feel obvious and timely. Waiting also distorts perception. While waiting, every small sign is overanalyzed. Progress feels slow, obstacles feel personal. But once waiting dissolves, perception clears. You stop interpreting everything as a test. You trust the unfolding without emotional interference. Life moves faster when you stop leaning over it. The requirement you think exists is imaginary. There is no universal law demanding that you suffer delay. The only law at work is correspondence. Life must reflect your inner state. If your inner state is anticipation, you will experience anticipation. If your inner state is ownership, you will experience confirmation. Ending waiting does not mean denying current appearances. It means removing your identity from them. You acknowledge what is visible without granting it authority. You stop using the present moment as evidence against yourself. You treat it as transitional, not final. The shift is subtle but powerful. Instead of thinking, I am waiting for this to happen, you move into, this is done, and life is arranging it. That shift relaxes the nervous system. It quiets the inner noise. And in that quiet, movement accelerates. Waiting is never required because fulfillment is not something to be earned in time. It is something to be assumed in consciousness. When you assume fulfillment, time becomes cooperative instead of obstructive. Events line up without Saint Ruggle. Encounters feel coincidental. Solutions appear naturally. The moment you realize waiting is a choice, you reclaim authority. You stop living in suspension. You stop postponing peace. You step into now, where creation actually happens. And from that state, life responds not with delay, but with confirmation. The end is a place of rest, not effort. And this understanding changes the entire way you approach life. Most people believe that achieving an outcome requires constant strain, repetition, and vigilance. They think they must hold the desire tightly, think about it endlessly, and work emotionally to keep it alive. But the end is not maintained by tension, it is sustained by ease. When something is truly accepted as done, the mind rests naturally. Effort belongs to the state of becoming, not the state of being. When you are striving, you are silently admitting that you are not there yet. Strain is always a signal of separation. The end, by contrast, carries the feeling of arrival. There is nothing to chase, nothing to prove, nothing to defend. You are no longer trying to convince yourself or the world. You simply know. Rest is not passivity, it is certainty without noise. When you have arrived at a destination, you do not keep checking the map. You sit down. In the same way, when the inner decision is final, mental effort fades, thoughts slow, reactions soften, urgency disappears. This inner stillness is the signature of living in the end. Many people mistake rest for laziness or loss of motivation, but rest does not eliminate action, it refines it. When you are resting in the end, actions arise naturally without pressure. You do what feels obvious rather than what feels forced. Effort-driven action comes from fear of not having enough. Rest-driven action comes from alignment with what already is. Trying to make it happen keeps you in the middle, not the end. The middle is filled with doubt, comparison, and constant evaluation. The end contains none of that. In the end, you are no longer concerned with how it will happen or when it will show up. Those questions dissolve because they are unnecessary. The outcome feels settled. This is why forcing techniques often fail. Repeating words with tension, visualizing with desperation, or monitoring your thoughts constantly creates exhaustion. The mind learns that the desire is something fragile that must be protected. But the end is not fragile, it is stable. It does not need maintenance through anxiety. Resting in the end means you allow yourself to feel the relief of completion now. Relief is powerful because it implies resolution. You do not feel relief about something you are still struggling with. Relief signals that the struggle is over. When relief becomes familiar, the end has been entered. The outer world responds most quickly to this state because there is no resistance in it. Resistance slows movement. Rest accelerates it. When you stop pushing, life fills the space. When you stop demanding proof, proof appears, not as a reward but as a reflection. Rest also frees you from emotional reactions. You no longer rise and fall with appearances. Temporary setbacks do not shake you because your identity is no longer attached to the process. You are anchored in the outcome. This emotional stability allows circumstances to rearrange without interference. The end is not reached by effort because effort keeps you focused on the gap. Rest closes the gap by removing attention from it. You stop rehearsing what is missing and start inhabiting what is complete. That shift is subtle, but it is everything. When rest becomes your natural state, trust replaces control. You no longer try to manage every detail. You allow life to handle the how. Your role is simply to remain, loyal to the feeling of completion. Loyalty does not require strain, it requires consistency. The end is a place of rest because rest is the evidence of belief. When you believe, you relax. When you relax, you align. And when you align, life moves to meet you effortlessly, not because you pushed harder, but because you finally stopped trying and allowed what was already decided to unfold. Faith is loyalty to the invisible, not blind hope or emotional intensity, but a steady allegiance to what has been accepted within before it appears without. Most people misunderstand faith as belief in something distant or uncertain. In truth, faith is intimacy with an unseen reality that feels more solid than what the senses report. It is choosing inner conviction over outer evidence not once, but consistently. The invisible is not imaginary, it is causal. Every visible thing began as an unseen assumption, a decision, a concept held long enough to harden into form. Faith is not about ignoring the world, but about understanding its order. The unseen always comes first. What you see is delayed confirmation, not the source of truth. When you remain loyal to what has not yet appeared, you are honoring the correct sequence of creation. Loyalty is the key. Anyone can feel inspired for a moment. Anyone can believe briefly. Faith is what remains when inspiration fades and appearances contradict you. It is the refusal to emotionally abandon the inner decision simply because the mirror has not caught up. The moment you react negatively to the outer world, you withdraw loyalty from the invisible and give it to the visible instead. Faith does not argue with facts, it outgrows them. Facts are temporary expressions of past assumptions. Faith recognizes this and refuses to be intimidated by what is still rearranging. It does not demand immediate proof because it understands that proof follows. Less alignment, not effort. Faith stays still while life moves. There is a quiet confidence that accompanies true faith. It is not loud or defensive. It does not need to convince others or itself. When you know something internally, you do not explain it repeatedly. You simply live from it. That way of living communicates faith more clearly than words ever could. Faith is also selective attention. You do not give emotional energy to every thought, report, or reaction. You choose which inner story you remain loyal to. This choice is repeated daily, sometimes hourly. Faith is not one dramatic decision, it is a series of small, consistent refusals to return to doubt. The invisible becomes stable through familiarity. At first, holding faith may feel unnatural because the old visible conditions feel more real. But reality is not determined by familiarity. Familiarity is determined by repetition. The more you dwell in the unseen state, the more normal it becomes. Eventually, the invisible feels obvious and the visible feels secondary. This is why faith brings peace. Doubt is exhausting because it keeps the mind divided. Faith unifies attention. When you are loyal to one inner truth, the mind stops arguing. Energy that was wasted on worry becomes available for clarity and inspired action. Peace is not the result of seeing, it is the result of knowing. Faith does not rush outcomes. Rushing implies insecurity. Faith allows time to perform its function without interference. It understands that the seed grows in darkness before it breaks the surface. Digging it up only delays the harvest. Loyalty to the invisible means you let the process complete itself. When challenges arise, faith does not collapse. It interprets obstacles as rearrangements, not refusals. It remains internally unchanged while circumstances shift. This inner stability is what gives faith its power. Faith reorganizes itself around what remains consistent. Faith is loyalty to the invisible because the invisible is where creation actually happens. What you see today is not asking for your belief, it is asking for your understanding. When you remain faithful to the unseen assumption, you allow the visible to transform without resistance. In the end, faith is not something you struggle to maintain. It becomes natural when you realize that the invisible has always been guiding your life anyway. Choosing it consciously simply allows you to participate in the process with clarity, trust, and calm certainty. Live from fulfillment, not toward it, and your entire relationship with life changes. Most people organize their existence around pursuit. They wake up believing something is missing, and every action is aimed at closing that gap. But the sense of lack is not removed by movement, it is removed by identity. When you live toward fulfillment, you remain defined by absence. When you live from fulfillment, absence dissolves on its own. Living towards something places happiness in the future. It conditions peace on arrival. This creates a restless state where the present moment is never enough. No matter how close you get, the mind stays oriented toward what is next. Fulfillment becomes a moving target, always just beyond reach. This is not because fulfillment is elusive, but because the state you are living in is one of becoming, not being. Living from fulfillment reverses this orientation. You begin from the assumption that the desire is already resolved. This does not mean you deny movement or growth. It means growth emerges naturally instead of desperately. You act because you are aligned, not because you are incomplete. Actions taken from fulfillment feel different. They are calm, focused, and surprisingly effective. When you live toward fulfillment, you constantly measure progress. You ask, am I closer? Is it working? When will it happen? These questions reinforce the identity of the seeker. Living from fulfillment eliminates the need for measurement. You are no longer trying to arrive, you are expressing what you already are. Progress becomes a byproduct, not a goal. Fulfillment is a state, not a reward. It is a feeling of completeness that does not depend on circumstances. You have experienced this in small ways, moments of relief, certainty, or satisfaction that appeared before anything visibly changed. Those moments were previews of living from fulfillment. They felt peaceful because the inner argument ended. Living from fulfillment also changes how you interpret obstacles. When you are moving towards something, obstacles feel like blocks. When you are living from it, obstacles feel like adjustments. You do not take them personally. You remain internally unchanged while life rearranges externally. This emotional neutrality keeps you stable and allows solutions to appear more easily. Many fear that living from fulfillment will make them passive or unmotivated. In reality, it removes false motivation and reveals true inspiration. False motivation is driven by fear of lack. True inspiration is driven by alignment. When you are fulfilled internally, you still act, but the action feels obvious, not forced. You stop pushing and start responding. Living from fulfillment also alters self-concept. You stop identifying as someone who is waiting, striving, or proving. You identify as someone who already embodies the quality you desire. This shift affects posture, tone, decisions, and reactions. You may not notice the change immediately, but others will. Life responds to this embodied certainty. The outer world cannot contradict a state you consistently live from. It may take time to rearrange, but it must align. Time is not a test of faith. It is simply the bridge between assumption and appearance. Living F. Wrong fulfillment allows that bridge to be crossed without emotional turbulence. To live from fulfillment is to make peace with now. You stop using the present moment as evidence against yourself. You treat it as a transition, not a verdict. This frees you from urgency and restores enjoyment. Ironically, fulfillment appears faster when it is no longer chased. Living from fulfillment is not pretending or ignoring reality. It is choosing the deeper reality of inner alignment over surface impressions. It is deciding that your inner state is the foundation, not the result. When you live from fulfillment, life does not need to convince you. You are already convinced. And when conviction becomes your home, fulfillment ceases to be a destination. It becomes your starting point, your atmosphere, and the quiet force through which everything else naturally unfolds. As we bring this message to a close, remember this truth. Life is not responding to what you wish for, hope for, or wait for. It is responding to who you are being. The outer world is a faithful mirror, never a creator. Inner assumption is the only cause. Waiting is a choice. The end is a place of rest. Faith is loyalty to the unseen. And fulfillment is not something you chase. It is something you live from. When you stop seeking permission from appearances and settle the matter within, life reorganizes itself effortlessly to reflect that decision. You do not need to force outcomes, struggle with time, or battle circumstances. Your only work is inner alignment. Choose the state of completion. Remain loyal to it without anxiety. Let your reactions, expectations, and self-concept flow from the feeling of already having arrived. When your inner world is at peace, the outer world must follow. Stop checking the mirror. Stop postponing peace. Stand in certainty, rest in fulfillment, and allow life to confirm what you already know to be true. The moment you change within, the reflection has no option but to change with you. Thank you. Listen closely. This video didn't appear by accident. You were led here. Something deep within you called this moment into being. You may think you clicked this at random, but your higher self knew exactly where to take you. This is your confirmation. Your season of delay is over. The long nights, the waiting, the wondering if it would ever happen, all of it was preparation. You weren't being denied, you were being aligned. The truth is simple. You've never been chasing your dreams have been chasing you. They've been circling your life, waiting for you to rise to the level of their reality. And now you have. You are not the same person you were yesterday. The moment you began to believe something more was possible, everything began to shift. The outer world may still look the same, but beneath the surface, everything is rearranging itself in your favor. The universe only mirrors what you assume to be true. So the question isn't, when will I win? The real question is, can I feel myself as the one who has already won? Because once you do, it's done. Creation is finished. The victory already exists. You don't chase it. You awaken to it. Right now, you are standing at the doorway of your next level. This video found you to remind you, your time to win everything is here. Not next month, not next year, not someday. Now, the feeling you've been searching for, peace, success, love, wealth, it's not coming to you. It's coming through you. You've shifted from hoping to knowing, from trying to being. Feel the reality of your dream right now. Don't analyze it. Embody it. Breathe as the person who already has it. Walk as the one who already made it. Speak as the one who already won. When you live from that truth, the world bends to meet you. People, opportunities, and resources begin to move in ways that seem impossible, but they were always possible. We're waiting for your alignment. So today, declare it. This is my time. This is my season. Everything I've desired is now unfolding before me. Stay faithful to that inner knowing, not the noise of the outer world. The old story is collapsing. The new one has begun. This video didn't just find you, it answered you. And now your time to win everything is here. You were led here by divine intention. There are no coincidences in a universe that operates by perfect law. Every step, every encounter, every whisper of inspiration has been quietly guiding you to this very moment. You didn't stumble upon this message by accident. Something far greater than your conscious mind orchestrated this meeting. The unseen hand of your higher self brought you here because you asked for a sign, and now the answer has arrived. You may not remember the exact moment you sent out the request. Perhaps it was a prayer whispered in frustration, a silent hope during a sleepless night, or a quiet thought like, there must be more to life than this. That single thought sent out a vibration into the universe, and like a magnetic call, it began pulling everything needed to respond. That's why you're here. This video, this message, this energy, it's not just information. It's reflection of your own inner desire, echoing back to you from the field of creation. Life is not random. The patterns, the synchronicities, the way things just happen are all expressions of divine order. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are being guided with precision. Every delay, every detour, even the moments that felt like rejection, they were redirections. The higher part of you knew exactly where you needed to be, even when your human mind couldn't understand it. And now you're standing at the threshold of realization. You have never been alone in your journey. Like disaster without death, there is realization. You have never been alone in your journey. The truth is, reality responds to the energy you hold. When you begin to long for something deeply, peace, purpose, abundance, love, that longing is not proof of its absence, it's proof that it already exists within you, waiting to be recognized. Desire is divine guidance in disguise. It's how your soul reminds you of what's possible. And when that desire grows strong enough, it magnetizes the experiences that awaken you to it. That's what's happening now. This message is not new information, it's remembrance. It's your own consciousness speaking back to you, saying, yes, you were right to believe. Yes, it's time. The same intelligence that turns seeds into forests and stars into galaxies is the same intelligence that led you here. It knows what you need and when you're ready to receive it. So trust that. Trust that the timing is perfect, that every experience has been preparation for this moment. You were never behind, never forgotten, never overlooked. Everything has unfolded exactly as it was meant to. And right now, you are standing in divine alignment with what you've been asking for. So breathe. Let the truth sink in. You are being guided. You always have been. The signs you've been seeking are not somewhere out there. They're within you, revealing themselves through every coincidence, every inspired thought, every message like this one. You were led here for a reason, and that reason is simple. It's time. Time to awaken, time to remember, time to receive everything you were meant for. Everything begins in imagination. Before anything can appear in the outer world, it must first be conceived within the inner world of thought and feeling. Every invention, every success story, every miracle that has ever unfolded began as an invisible image in someone's mind. The imagination is not a place of fantasy, it is the workshop of reality. It is where all creation begins and where all transformation takes root. The life you long for already exists, not somewhere far away, but in a higher dimension of awareness. You do not need to create it from nothing because it is already complete in the unseen. What you call your future is simply a version of yourself that already lives in the fullness of that desire. The process is not about making it happen, but about aligning your consciousness with that version of yourself who already has it. You do this not by effort, but by feeling it real within. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. When you close your eyes and allow yourself to imagine the scene of your fulfilled desire, not as a distant dream, but as something happening now, you begin to impress that reality upon your subconscious mind. The subconscious, which governs all outer experience, does not question or analyze. It simply reflects whatever image is impressed upon it with conviction. This is why imagination is so powerful. It is the first act of creation, the blueprint that shapes the world you see. Most people wait for circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel the joy, peace, or confidence of having what they want. But the truth is reversed. You must feel it first. The outer world is only a mirror, faithfully reflecting your inner state. When you feel abundance within, life begins to rearrange itself to match that vibration. When you feel love within, it manifests in the faces and actions of others. You never receive what you want, you receive what you are. To imagine is to claim. When you imagined yourself living the life you desire, walking through your dream home, hearing words of congratulations, feeling the relief of your prayer answered, you begin to shift your identity. The imagination is not pretending, it is rehearsing reality. The more vividly you live in that state, the more natural it becomes. And when it feels natural, the world around you must mirror it. That is law. So stop waiting for signs. Become the sign. Stop hoping that your dreams will come. Step into them inwardly. Close your eyes and live there until it feels more real than the outer world. Because what you consistently feel becomes what you consistently experience. The unseen is not empty, it is the realm where all things are already finished. Your role is to awaken to it, to claim it as yours, by feeling it real now. Everything you desire is waiting for your recognition. Imagination is the doorway, and feeling is the key. You are the source of all power. The same energy that moves the stars and breathes life into every living thing moves through you right now. You are not a small being hoping for mercy from the universe. You are the universe, expressing itself as you. The power that created worlds is not somewhere outside, deciding your fate. It resides within your consciousness, waiting for direction. Everything you call destiny is simply the echo of what you have assumed to be true about yourself. Your assumptions are seeds planted in the fertile soil of reality. Whatever you hold as true, whether consciously or unconsciously, begins to take shape in the outer world. This is why two people can live in the same world, yet experience completely different realities. It's not the conditions that define their lives, it's their inner conviction about who they are and what they believe is possible. The world does not respond to your wishes, it responds to your certainty. It mirrors what you have dared to assume. When you say, I am, you are speaking the most powerful creative words in existence. Whatever follows I am begins to form itself into experience. If you say, I am unworthy, life echoes that belief in circumstances that confirm it. But when you begin to say, I am powerful, I am chosen, I am enough, the world rearranges itself to reflect that inner identity. You are the cause, never the effect. What you see outside is always a reflection of what you have accepted within. Many people spend their lives trying to change the mirror instead of the reflection. They struggle with the outer world, unaware that the outer is only a shadow of the inner. When you shift your inner conviction, the shadow must change. This is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual law. You cannot experience anything that contradicts the state of consciousness you occupy. That's why true transformation begins in silence, in the unseen realm of belief. You have been conditioned to think that power belongs to something outside you, luck, fate, society, or circumstance. But power is not given, it is realized. The moment you stop seeing yourself as a victim of life and begin to see yourself as the creator of your experience, you awaken the infinite strength that has been sleeping within you. It is not arrogance to know this truth. It is awakening. It is remembering who you truly are. The world is your mirror, not your master. It faithfully reflects your assumptions, your faith, and your self-concept. If you want to see something different, believe something different. Hold a new inner picture. Assume the feeling of already being the person you want to be, and life will respond accordingly. Every result you desire is waiting behind one new assumption, one new acceptance of your own power. The moment you dare to claim it, destiny shifts. Because destiny is not written by chance, it is written by consciousness. And you, always and forever, are the author. You are already chosen. Long before you questioned your worth, long before you wondered whether you were good enough, the answer was already yes. You have spent too much time waiting for permission, waiting for recognition, waiting for some external sign to confirm what has been true about you from the very beginning. The truth is that no one else has the authority to grant you what you already are. You do not need to be picked, you already are. The fact that you even desire something deeply is proof that it is already yours in a higher sense. Otherwise, the desire would never have been born in you. Desire is not a sign of lack, it is a sign of possession. It is your soul's way of showing you what has already been prepared. When you feel a longing for a certain life, relationship, or achievement, that longing is not a cruel tease. It is a glimpse of what already exists for you in the unseen, waiting for your acceptance. You cannot desire what does not belong to you. Your heart cannot crave what is not already part of your potential reality. Desire is not random, it is divine confirmation. Yet so many people live their lives waiting to be discovered. They wait for someone to validate them, to say, now you're ready. They stand on the sidelines watching others step into their dreams, all while forgetting that no one else can choose for them. The power to step forward has always been yours. You were chosen the moment you existed, the moment you were given the breath of life. Everything after that is simply you remembering it. The fear of not being enough is the only barrier. It's the illusion that you must prove your worth before you can claim what is yours. But worth is not earned, it is inherent. You don't wait for the sun to earn its right to shine. It shines because it is the sun. In the same way, you don't need to earn your destiny. You step into it because you are already aligned with it. The longing you feel is a whisper from your higher self. It's saying, come closer. Stop doubting. Step forward. When you honor that feeling instead of dismissing it, doors begin to open. Opportunities appear. The right people show up. The circumstances align. It's not because the world suddenly decided to favor you, but because you decided to favor yourself, to believe you're already chosen. You no longer have to wait for an invitation. Life has already extended it. The moment you allow yourself to feel chosen, you begin to live chosen. You speak differently, walk differently, expect differently. And the world reflects that back to you. Nothing outside you is withholding your destiny. Only your belief in your unworthiness can do that. Release it now. The longing you carry is the proof. You are not chasing what isn't yours. You are stepping into what has always been waiting for you. You are already chosen. Feel it as done. That is the secret that separates those who wish from those who manifest. Hoping and wishing come from a place of lack. They imply that what you want is far away, that it has yet to arrive. But feeling is different. Feeling is knowing. It is standing inside the reality of your desire and claiming it as already accomplished. When you feel something as done, the universe must align itself with that state, because creation responds not to your words but to your vibration. Every outcome in life is drawn to the emotional state that matches it. When you feel poor, you attract lack. When you feel loved, you draw love. When you feel powerful, life echoes that power back to you. This is not a matter of pretending or forcing positive thoughts. It is about embodying the inner experience of already being the person who has what you want. You become the cause, and reality becomes the mirror. To feel it as done is to move beyond the illusion of waiting. The waiting mind says it's coming one day. but the awakened mind says is already mine. You shift your energy from seeking to possessing. That shift changes everything. You no longer act from desperation or fear, but from calm confidence, because you know it is already secured in the unseen. The unseen is not empty. It is filled with every possibility that exists. When you feel it is done, you are claiming one of those possibilities as your own. The key is to go beyond words and into emotion. Don't just affirm it, embody it. Close your eyes and feel what it would be like to live in that reality now. How would your body feel if your desire were already fulfilled? What peace, what joy, what gratitude would fill your heart? Let yourself experience that emotion fully until it becomes real to you. That inner experience is not imagination, it is creation. The subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly felt. Once you impress it with the feeling of fulfillment, it begins to arrange every detail of your life to match that state. When doubts arise, don't fight them. Simply return to the feeling, feel it again and again until it becomes natural. The outer world will begin to catch up with your inner conviction, because the world has no choice but to reflect what you believe. It cannot resist a consciousness that knows what it wants is already done. This is the quiet confidence of creation, not hoping, not striving, not chasing, but resting in the truth that it's finished. You don't need to force or beg. You only need to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and trust that everything else will fall into place. The world bends for the one who feels. So let go of the waiting, release the struggle, and feel it as done. Because the moment you do, it is done. Your winning season has begun. Life has turned in your favor, even if your outer circumstances have yet to fully reveal it. The tides that once seemed to move against you are now shifting, carrying you forward with ease and grace. What once felt like resistance was never rejection. It was direction, preparation, and alignment. You have stepped into a new vibration, the vibration of victory, and everything around you is beginning to rearrange itself to match this new state of being. There was a time when you questioned if your breakthrough would ever come, when it felt like every effort ended in disappointment. But those seasons were not punishment, they were refinement. You were being strengthened, trained to hold the very blessings you were asking for. The foundation had to be built before the structure could rise. And now that structure is ready. The energy has shifted, the momentum has changed. You are no longer fighting upstream. The current is carrying you. Victory is not something that suddenly appears. It's a vibration you enter. It's a consciousness that says, I already have it. I already am it. When you live from that state, life cannot help but mirror it back to you. People will start to treat you differently. Opportunities will appear out of nowhere. And situations that once felt impossible will begin to flow effortlessly. It's not luck, it's alignment. You have tuned yourself to the frequency of winning, and reality must obey that inner truth. To remain faithful to this vibration means not letting temporary appearances shake your conviction. Even when things look quiet on the surface, trust that movement is happening underneath. Seeds grow in silence before they break through the soil. Don't dig them up with doubt. Stay steady in your knowing. The more you affirm the feeling of victory, the faster it solidifies into form. Your winning season isn't about arrogance or competition. It's about realization. It's about knowing that life has always been conspiring in your favor, even when you couldn't see it. Every closed door protected you. Every delay was divine timing. Every heartbreak was clearing space for something greater. Now that you understand this, you can move forward without fear. You don't have to force outcomes anymore. You simply align with them, walk as if it's already done. Speak from the energy of gratitude, not need. Let every action you take come from the certainty that things are working out perfectly, because they are. The universe responds to your confidence, your faith, your unwavering inner vision, and that vision has matured into reality. This is your time to rise, your time to receive, your time to shine. You've crossed the threshold into a new chapter where everything begins to click. The struggle has served its purpose, and now grace takes over. Your winning season has begun, and nothing can stop what's already in motion. Remain faithful, stay aligned, and watch as life crowns you with everything you once only imagined. You have now heard the truth that has been calling out to you all along. Nothing in your journey has been a mistake. Every detour, every delay, every moment of uncertainty was guiding you to this realization. You are the creator of your reality. You are not waiting for your time to come. Your time is now. You were led here by divine design, and everything you desire is already complete in the unseen, waiting for your recognition. The power has always been within you. The moment you choose to feel it as done, the universe bends to match your belief. You are not separate from your dreams. You are the very consciousness through which they manifest. The door to your new reality is open, and all you must do is walk through it with faith, with gratitude, and with certainty. So from this moment forward, stop questioning if you are ready. You are. Stop wondering if it will happen. It already has. Live as the one who has already won, and the world will have no choice but to mirror that truth back to you. This is your confirmation, your awakening, your moment of power. Your winning season has begun, and your time to win everything is here. Thank you for listening. And remember, the victory you seek is not coming to you, it's coming from you. Friends, today I want you to realize a truth that can change everything in your life. God is already bringing every promise together for you. Not someday, not next year, not when luck strikes, but now, this very moment. The forces of life are aligning to deliver your victory. Too often we look around and see nothing, and we think the promises are far off, delayed, or perhaps even denied. Let me tell you something profound. What seems delayed is actually perfectly arranged. God is orchestrating circumstances with precision, ensuring that every detail falls into its rightful place. Nothing is wasted, nothing is missing, everything is being prepared to manifest exactly as it should. The first step in receiving your win is to understand that everything you desire already exists. Your dreams, your goals, your promises, they are not waiting in some distant future. They are alive in the realm of imagination, fully formed and waiting for you to acknowledge them. The moment you step into the feeling of having them, the outer world must respond. Faith is not just belief. Faith is the active force that moves mountains. It is not about wishing or hoping. It is about living in the conviction that your desires are real. Feel the joy, the relief, the gratitude, as if it has already happened. When you do, you are giving God permission to deliver it, because your inner world has already accepted it. Do not be shaken by appearances. What you see may seem contradictory. The world may whisper, "Not yet, not possible." But know this: the outer world cannot contradict the inner reality you persistently hold. Assume the wish fulfilled. Live and act as if your victory is already yours. Guard this feeling as the most precious treasure. Every delay, every trial, every quiet moment is preparation. God is silently aligning every person, every situation, and every event to converge perfectly for your manifestation. You may not see it yet, but it is coming together piece by piece for your ultimate win. Persistence is the seal of victory. Stay loyal to the vision. Hold fast to the feeling of the fulfilled promise. Refuse to doubt. Refuse to surrender to appearances. Every promise will come together, not by chance, but by the unstoppable law of imagination, made real. So, get ready. Your win is near. The promise is not only alive, it is being brought together right now. Open your heart, embody the fulfillment, and step forward into the life that is already yours. Victory is not ahead of you, it is ready to meet you the moment you recognize it. Everything you desire already exists. This is not a theory or a vague hope. It is a truth that has been hidden in plain sight. The things you long for, the goals you dream of, the promises whispered into your heart, they are not waiting somewhere in a distant future to be earned or discovered. They exist now, fully formed, complete, and whole, in the realm of your imagination. This inner realm is more real than anything outside of you, because it is the birthplace of reality itself. The universe does not create in response to struggle, effort, or external conditions. It creates in response to the state of consciousness you occupy. The moment you imagine, feel, and accept something as real, you are aligning with it, and it must manifest in your outer life. The common mistake most people make is looking outward for proof. They see the current circumstances and believe that because it is not yet visible, it does not exist. But this is a reversal of truth. What is unseen is the seed of reality. It is in the invisible, in the imagination, that your promises live and breathe. Your job is not to chase, struggle, or compel the external world into agreement. Your job is to awaken to what is already true in the inner sanctuary of your mind. Once you see it there, the outer world will reflect it inevitably. To fully grasp this, you must enter the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Imagine not just the achievement, but the experience of it. The joy, the relief, the satisfaction, and the gratitude. Feel it as if it is already here. Speak in your mind as if it is done. Move as if it is your current reality. By doing so, you are not pretending, you are acknowledging a deeper truth. Your desires exist as much as the air you breathe or the sun that rises. They have always been present, waiting for your recognition to awaken them into form. Recognition is the key. Most people wait for the world to confirm their desires. They wait for circumstances to catch up with their vision. But this waiting is unnecessary. The world is a mirror, reflecting back what you hold firmly within. The promise does not wait for the world. It waits for you. The instant you claim it within your imagination, it is already yours. The challenge is not in acquiring it, but in becoming aware that it already belongs to you. Understand that everything you desire is a living reality in the unseen. Time, effort, and struggle are illusions when it comes to creation. What you imagine, what you feel as real, and what you persistently hold as your inner truth moves the world to match it. The universe cannot resist the conviction of a mind that knows its desires are already fulfilled. Your dreams are not distant. They are present, complete, and waiting for your acknowledgement. All you must do is see, feel, and accept them, and watch as the outer world begins to align piece by piece, until the invisible becomes visible, until your desires are no longer imagined, but lived. Faith is not a passive feeling or a fleeting hope. It is the active force that shapes reality itself. It is the silent power within you that moves mountains, bends circumstances, and brings your desires into manifestation. Many people mistakenly believe that achievement, success, or fulfillment comes through effort, struggle, or external action. They toil, they strive, they plan, and yet, without faith, the results they seek remain elusive. Faith, when rightly understood, is the key that unlocks the door to everything you desire. It is not something you wait for, it is something you live and embody, the invisible energy that directs life toward your chosen outcome. To exercise faith is to know with unwavering conviction that your desire is already real. It is to act from the end, to assume the feeling of the fulfilled wish, and to persist in that inner state regardless of appearances. The world may seem chaotic, full of obstacles, or resistant to your vision, but these outer conditions are powerless against the force of faith. Faith is not dependent on circumstances. It is the creative energy that informs circumstances. When you embody faith fully, life cannot help but align itself with the state of consciousness you inhabit. Aguti kamahaleho. Faith moves silently, without effort, without struggle, and without visible proof. It does not push or pull. It simply exists as a steady, unshakable knowing within you. Like a seed planted deep within fertile soil, it germinates unseen, sending roots into the foundation of your reality. Gradually, imperceptibly at first, circumstances begin to shift, opportunities appear, people respond in unexpected ways, and doors open where none seem to exist. This is the quiet miracle of faith. It is invisible, yet infinitely powerful. The world cannot resist it because it is not a force of the world. It is a force from the unseen, the divine source within you. Many fail to recognize the potency of faith because they look for immediate results or tangible signs. They grow impatient and try to force outcomes through effort alone. But faith does not hurry. It does not struggle. It waits, confident in the invisible reality that is already established. Your task is not to battle or chase. It is to remain steadfast in the inner conviction that what you desire is yours. Every thought, every feeling, every action rooted in that faith strengthens the alignment between your inner reality and the outer world. It is not work, it is not planning, it is not striving that brings fulfillment. It is your inner faith, unwavering and alive, that orchestrates all circumstances to serve your vision. When you live from faith, the universe itself becomes your ally, arranging every detail to confirm what your inner being already knows. Faith is the active force that creates life. It is the silent engine behind every manifestation, the invisible hand guiding reality to match your desire. If you hold it firmly, persistently, and joyfully, nothing can prevent the unfolding of your victory. The feeling of fulfillment is not a result of circumstances, it is the cause of all manifestation. It is the secret that transforms desire into reality, the invisible key that unlocks every promise and turns imagination into experience. Too often people wait for the world to confirm their dreams before allowing themselves to feel satisfied. They think that joy, success, or fulfillment comes after achievement. But the truth is entirely different. The feeling of fulfillment must come first. You must live in the end, embody the reality of your win now, and the world will inevitably reflect it. To live in the end is to occupy the state of mind and heart that you would have if your desire were already fulfilled. It is to immerse yourself fully in the sensation of having, being, and experiencing what you seek. If your desire is a promotion, feel the pride, confidence, and recognition as if it has already happened. If it is a relationship, feel the love, companionship, and harmony as if it already exists. This feeling is not a superficial wish or daydream. It is a deep inner conviction, a state of consciousness that aligns you with the reality you wish to manifest. When you embody fulfillment, you are not pretending. You are acknowledging a truth that already exists in the unseen realm. The universe responds not to your words, your plans, or your efforts alone, but to your inner state. Your feelings are signals of your alignment with reality. When you act, speak, and think from the end, life rearranges itself around you to match the reality you carry within. The outer world is merely a mirror of your inner state, and when your inner being is fully satisfied and convinced, the reflection must follow. Many people fail to recognize the importance of feeling fulfilled because they focus on what is missing. They look at the absence, the delay, and the challenges and allow doubt to creep in. But doubt is the enemy of manifestation. It is the vibration of resistance that pushes the desired reality further away. To overcome this, you must cultivate the inner sensation of having already received. Close your eyes, imagine the outcome, and feel it in your body, mind, and soul. Live as if it is no longer a dream, but your present reality. Allow gratitude, joy, and contentment to saturate every thought and action. The beauty of this approach is that it bypasses struggle entirely. You do not have to force circumstances or wrestle with the world to obtain what is yours. You only need to assume the feeling of fulfillment and persist in it. As you do, subtle and profound changes occur. Doors open effortlessly. Opportunities appear. People align and events conspire in your favor. What you feel inside must manifest outside, because feeling is the seed and the outer world is the harvest. Understand this principle deeply. Your reality always reflects your inner state. The feeling of fulfillment is the key. Live in the end. Embody your victory now. Allow yourself to experience the triumph, the satisfaction, and the joy as if it has already arrived. When you do, life cannot help but conform. Your win is not ahead of you, it is already here, waiting for you to recognize it. What seems like delay is never denial. It is a part of the divine process, a silent orchestration of circumstances designed to bring every promise to its perfect fulfillment. Many people look at waiting as frustration, as a sign that their desires are out of reach or that life has turned its back on them. But the truth is far deeper, far more empowering. The moments of apparent delay are the hidden moments of preparation. God, or the infinite creative intelligence within you, is aligning every detail, arranging every circumstance, and positioning every element in your favor, so that when your desire manifests, it does so completely, beautifully, and without flaw. Delay is not a pause of emptiness. It is the quiet gathering of forces. It is the unseen work of life moving behind the scenes, bending events, people, and situations toward your chosen reality. Imagine the sculptor chiseling a statue. Each strike of the chisel is precise, even if it seems slow. Each moment of waiting is a careful shaping of reality, a refinement that ensures your manifestation is perfect and lasting. Nothing is haphazard. Nothing is overlooked. Every encounter, every opportunity, and even every obstacle is a part of the preparation, bringing you closer to the perfect unfolding of your promise. Understand that impatience comes from misunderstanding. You may see circumstances as obstacles, delays as setbacks, and unanswered prayers as failures, but these are illusions created by limited perception. In the unseen, every detail is moving according to law and order. The universe never hurries, yet nothing is ever late. The perfect timing is always at work, even when it appears that nothing is happening. To trust this process is to align yourself with the current of life that carries your desires to manifestation. During these periods of waiting, you are being prepared, not punished. Your faith is strengthened, your inner conviction is tested, your ability to embody the reality of your desire is refined. Each delay is an opportunity to deepen your knowing that your promise already exists. It is a time to cultivate the feeling of fulfillment, to immerse yourself in the joy and certainty of the wish already realized, even before the outer evidence appears. When you do this, you are not wasting time. You are actively participating in the very process that ensures your manifestation will be complete. Every master of life has understood this principle. They did not demand instant results, nor did they rely on external proof. They knew that the unseen is more powerful than the seen, that faith in the invisible always precedes the visible. Delay is simply the universe arranging every factor to match the fullness of your inner vision. Trust it, welcome it, embrace it as part of the divine choreography of life. Every moment you wait with belief and joy brings your promise closer, until the time comes when everything aligns perfectly and your desire manifests with effortless perfection. You must assume the wish fulfilled. This is the cornerstone of manifestation, the principle that transforms imagination into reality. Too often, people look outward, expecting the world to change first, and they allow appearances to dictate their feelings. They wait for circumstances, people, or opportunities to confirm their desires, believing that the outer world must align before they can feel complete. But the truth is the opposite. The inner conviction shapes the outer world. Your inner state is the creative force, and the world cannot contradict what you hold firmly within. What you assume to be true in your imagination will inevitably manifest in your experience. To assume the wish fulfilled is to take possession of the reality you desire within your own consciousness. It is not a mental exercise or idle daydreaming. It is the deliberate act of living as if your desire has already been realized. If your goal is success, feel the pride, the confidence, and the gratitude of already having achieved it. If your desire is love, Inhabit the sensation of being cherished, valued, and fully connected. By doing this, you are not pretending. You are acknowledging a deeper truth. The reality you seek already exists in the unseen, waiting for your recognition to bring it into form. The outer world is a mirror. It reflects back the state of mind that you maintain. When you assume the wish fulfilled, when you persist in the feeling of the end, circumstances will bend to match your inner state. People, events, and opportunities will align, not because of your effort or persuasion, but because the unseen forces of life respond to the conviction within you. The world cannot contradict what you genuinely accept as true in your consciousness. Whatever you hold firmly in your imagination must come to pass. For imagination is the creative source of all reality. Many fail to apply this principle because they are distracted by appearances. They see lack, resistance, or delay, and they allow these outer signs to influence their inner state. They doubt, fear, and vacillate between hope and despair. But as soon as you allow the outer world to control your feelings, you have surrendered the creative power that belongs to you. The key is to remain steadfast in the inner assumption, regardless of what the senses report. Assume, feel, and know the end, and the world will conform. Persistence is essential. It is not enough to assume the wish fulfilled for a moment. You must maintain this state until it hardens into reality. Each thought, each feeling, each act of imagination strengthens the unseen forces working on your behalf. The more real you make it within, the faster and more perfect the outer manifestation becomes. Suggest, thou sayest me, is. You are not waiting for the world to catch up. You are living from the reality that is already yours. The world cannot contradict your inner conviction. Your inner state dictates the outer reality. Assume it, inhabit it, and watch as life bends effortlessly to your knowing. Your desire is not distant. It is here, waiting for your recognition and your unwavering faith. Persistence is the seal of victory. It is the unshakable commitment to your inner vision, the steadfast loyalty to the reality you have assumed, and the unwavering belief that your desires are already fulfilled. Too often people give up too soon. They see obstacles, delays, or apparent failures and allow doubt to creep in. They forget that manifestation is not instantaneous and that the outer world often moves at a slower rhythm than the inner world. Yet it is persistence that transforms imagination into experience, that turns the invisible into the visible, and that aligns every promise to converge at precisely the right moment. To persist is to remain faithful to the inner assumption, even when circumstances seem contrary. It is to hold the feeling of the fulfilled desire with calm confidence, regardless of appearances. The world may whisper, "Not yet," but your inner state must respond. It is already done. This steadfast loyalty is not stubbornness or blind hope. It is the recognition of the immutable law that the outer world must reflect what is accepted within. When you persist, you are not struggling against life. You are cooperating with a creative intelligence that orchestrates every detail for your ultimate good. Every moment of persistence strengthens the unseen forces working on your behalf. Each thought aligned with your vision, each feeling that mirrors the fulfilled wish, and each act that embodies the end result compounds into an unstoppable momentum. The universe cannot resist a mind and heart that remain loyal to the vision. Like a river cutting through rock, the constant flow of inner conviction gradually shapes circumstances until every element of your desire is brought into harmony. This is the secret of all great achievements. Unwavering persistence in the inner state until the outer world must yield. Persistence also cultivates trust. It teaches you to rely not on fleeting appearances, but on the eternal reality of your inner assumption. You learn that delays are not denials, that setbacks are temporary, and that resistance is only a signal to deepen your inner knowing. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to reaffirm your vision, to strengthen your feeling of fulfillment, and to maintain the unbroken awareness that what you desire is inevitable. This is the heart of mastery, the ability to remain loyal when everything seems uncertain, knowing that the promise is already set in motion. Understand that victory is not won by force or by external striving. It is sealed by persistence. Your loyalty to the vision ensures that every promise converges in perfect timing. Circumstances, people, and events align effortlessly when the inner state is unwavering. Nothing can prevent the fulfillment of a desire that is persistently assumed and faithfully embodied. The more persistent you are, the more certain the manifestation becomes, and the more complete it arrives. Persistence is the final key. Stay loyal to the inner vision, remain steadfast in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and allow the universe to arrange every detail in perfect harmony. Every promise you hold within is converging, moving silently yet powerfully toward its realization. Victory is not a distant dream. It is already on its way, waiting for your steadfast persistence to claim it fully. As we come to the close of this message, remember this: every promise that has been placed in your heart is already alive, already real, and already on its way to you. The universe, in perfect order, is bringing together every detail, every circumstance, and every person necessary to fulfill what is yours. Your role is not to chase or force, but to align your imagination, your feelings, and your inner conviction with the reality of your win. Live in the end, persist with unwavering faith, and trust that delay is only preparation, not denial. Know that nothing outside of you can contradict the reality you assume within. Your imagination is the creative power. Your inner state is a law that shapes your world. Stay loyal to your vision, embody the fulfillment, and embrace the certainty that victory is inevitable. Every promise is converging, every blessing is aligning, and the life you have imagined is ready to meet you. Are you? So, rise in confidence. Live in the reality of your fulfilled desire now, and get ready for your wind. The moment you recognize it, all that you have believed, imagined, and felt will flow into your life effortlessly. Your victory is not ahead of you, it is here, silently forming, waiting for you to claim it. Thank you for opening your heart, for believing in the unseen, and for stepping into the power of your imagination. Remember, God is bringing every promise together. Get ready to receive, get ready to live, and get ready to win. Beloved, you are not limited to one dream, one desire, or one expression of life. The power that creates worlds lives within you, and it knows no division. To manifest multiple things at once is not only possible, it is natural. For you are the operant power, and imagination is the only reality. Understand this: every desire springs from the same source, your inner world. Just as countless fruits grow from a single tree, so do countless manifestations flow from the one invisible power within you. There is no struggle, no competition, and no conflict. Each desire belongs to you by divine right, waiting only for your assumption of its reality. You do not manifest by labor or by effort, but by inner acceptance. What you inwardly assume to be true must clothe itself in the garments of the outer world. If you desire health, wealth, love, and success, you need not choose one over the other. Instead, dwell in the feeling of each as though already fulfilled. Imagine the conversations you would have if you were already wealthy. Feel the warmth of love if your relationship were already perfect. Experience the peace of health restored. Each state lives within you, awaiting your recognition. Do not concern yourself with how or when these desires will unfold. The how is not your work, the unseen power arranges that. Your work is simply to rest in the end, to feel natural in the state of fulfillment. When you can close your eyes and live as though your desires are already yours, you have planted the seed. And just as seeds sprout in their own time, so too will your manifestations blossom. Sometimes one by one, sometimes all together. Many ask, but can I truly manifest many things at once? I tell you, yes. For in imagination, you are not bound by time, space, or order. You can be loved, wealthy, successful, and healthy simultaneously, because in the unseen world, all things already exist. You are merely aligning yourself with the version of you who already has them. Release doubt. Do not measure your progress by the outer world, for appearances often lag behind the inner acceptance. Trust the unseen more than what the senses tell you. When the outer world contradicts your desire, remind yourself, the unseen is the real, the visible is only the shadow. And above all, let your desires harmonize. They are not at war with one another, they flow together, forming the perfect expression of the life you are meant to live. Wealth does not exclude love. Health does not exclude success. Joy does not exclude peace. All can be yours because all already are yours in imagination. So tonight, begin to live from the end. Enter into the joy of desires fulfilled. Walk as though you are already the person who has it all. The moment you accept this inner truth, the outer world has no choice but to mirror it back to you. For you are the creator of your reality, and creation is finished. Everything you seek already exists within. Dare to assume it, rest in it, and watch as multiple desires spring forth into your life effortlessly, harmoniously, and beautifully. GPT said, all that you desire, every vision, every dream, and every longing of your heart springs from a single source. There is not one power for wealth, another for health, another for love, and still another for success. There is only one invisible power, the imagination within you, and it is the fountain from which all things flow. Just as countless rays of light radiate from a single sun, so too do countless manifestations come forth from your inner reality. To recognize this truth is to free yourself from confusion and division, for you will no longer wonder how to call forth multiple desires. You will understand that all expressions are born of the same essence. This one power does not limit itself. It does not ration its abundance or measure out what you are allowed to receive. The limitation arises only when you believe the source is scattered, when you think love must come from one place, wealth from another, and health from yet another. But when you realize the source is one, you begin to see that every manifestation is already yours, waiting for you to claim it in imagination. You can have the fullness of life because you already carry the completeness of life within you. Think of the ocean. From it, countless waves rise and fall, each with its own form and rhythm. Yet no matter how many waves appear, they all belong to the one sea. Your desires are the waves, but the source is the ocean of your imagination. Some waves may be large and majestic, others small and subtle, but each arises effortlessly from the same depth. When you acknowledge that one ocean gives rise to all waves, you no longer doubt whether another desire can come to pass. You know it is inevitable, for it belongs to the same flow. This invisible power is not something distant, outside, or separate from you. It is your very own imagination, your inner ability to accept a state as real, to see beyond appearances and rest in the unseen. When you imagine yourself in possession of your desire and feel the reality of it, you are calling it forth from the one source. You are not asking or begging something outside to grant it. You are simply recognizing what already exists in seed form within. And when you grasp this truth, you realize that manifesting multiple things at once is natural. Just as a tree does not produce only one fruit and stop, your imagination does not create one manifestation and then exhaust itself. It continues to bring forth abundance because its source is infinite. You are not limited to a single dream. You can enjoy love and wealth, health and peace, success and joy, all together, because they are simply different expressions of the same inner reality. To live with this awareness is to rest in confidence. You no longer need to divide your mind, worrying that one desire might cancel another. Instead, you allow each to unfold in harmony, knowing all are sustained by the one invisible power within you. When you trust this, your life becomes an effortless dance of manifestations, each flowing from the same unshakable source. The great secret of creation lies in assumption. Whatever you accept as true within yourself, whatever you inwardly take possession of, must one day appear in your outer world. The law is exact, and it does not fail. Life does not respond to what you merely hope for, nor to what you idly wish for. It responds to what you assume, to the state you inwardly occupy as real. The invisible world of imagination is the only cause, and the visible world is its inevitable effect. To assume is to claim inwardly that something is already yours. It is to step beyond desire and move into fulfillment. The moment you say to yourself, I am, instead of I want to be, you are living by the law of assumption. The outer world, which often seems so fixed and immovable, has no choice but to rearrange itself according to the inner reality you now hold. It cannot resist because it has no life of its own. It is a shadow, a mirror, a reflection of what you carry within. This law is not bound by logic, reason, or circumstance. The senses may scream otherwise, appearances may deny it, and yet if you remain faithful to the assumption, the outer world must conform. It does not matter how impossible the desire seems. The world does not create your assumption. Your assumption creates the world. You are always assuming something, whether consciously or unconsciously, and life is always reflecting it back to you. To master this law is to take conscious control of what you allow yourself to accept as true. Consider the difference between one who longs for wealth and one who assumes wealth as their reality. The one who longs continues to confirm lack by saying, I want, I need, I hope. The one who assumes quietly rests in the feeling, I am prosperous, I am provided for. The law has no choice but to clothe that assumption in visible form. It may come through unexpected means, surprising paths, or in ways beyond calculation, but it must come. The assumption, once accepted, is self-fulfilling. The key is persistence. A fleeting thought or a passing daydream is not assumption. True assumption is dwelling in the end, living in the state of the wish fulfilled until it feels natural. When you assume something long enough, it ceases to feel like imagination and becomes your inner reality. At that point, the outer world begins to echo it without resistance. This is why you must guard your assumptions carefully. If you assume failure, you will see failure. If you assume rejection, you will meet rejection. But if you assume love, success, and health, those must appear. For the law makes no distinction between good or bad, wanted or unwanted. It only reflects. Therefore, dare to assume the highest and noblest for yourself. Refuse to bow to appearances and claim the truth of your desire inwardly, here and now. As you persist, the unseen will solidify into the seen, and what you once held only in imagination will stand before you as fact. This is the certainty of the law of assumption. What you accept as true within must reveal itself without. To live in the end is to step into the reality of your desire before it takes shape in the outer world. It is to bypass the waiting, the hoping, the striving, and instead dwell in the inner knowing that it is already accomplished. This is not daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is a deliberate act of consciousness, a shift in identity from the one who seeks to the one who has found. When you live as though your desire is already fulfilled, you align yourself with the version of reality in which it is fact. And that alignment inevitably calls it forth into manifestation. Every desire you hold exists now in unseen form. Creation is finished and nothing new is being made. You are simply moving into awareness of that which already is. When you imagine yourself at the end, experiencing the joy of the wish fulfilled, you are claiming that version of yourself as real. The senses may deny it, the world may contradict it, but when you remain faithful to the end, the outer must conform. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. Living in the end does not mean ignoring the present or forcing yourself to deny what is. It means that inwardly you rest in the feeling of completion. For instance, if you desire love, you do not dwell in the loneliness of, I want to be loved. You dwell in the warmth, gratitude, and satisfaction of already being cherished. If you desire financial abundance, you do not live in the anxiety of lack. Instead, you carry yourself as one already secure, already free, already provided for. By dwelling in these inner states, you set into motion the outer reflection. The imagination is the workshop of creation. Each time you close your eyes and step into the scene that implies your desire fulfilled, you are rehearsing reality. If you do it with conviction and feeling, the line between imagination and fact begins to blur. The inner world grows so vivid that the outer must bend to match it. It is the law of consciousness. What you accept as true within yourself hardens into fact without. The secret is persistence and naturalness. At first, the state of the wish fulfilled may feel like a fantasy, but the more you return to it, the more it becomes familiar, and soon it feels natural. Once it feels natural, manifestation is inevitable, for reality always follows the path of least resistance. It must outpicture the inner state that feels most normal to you. That is why those who persist in living in the end are never disappointed. They are simply claiming what already belongs to them, knowing that nothing can withhold it once assumed. To live in the end is the ultimate act of faith. It is to say, Though the world has not yet shown me my desire, I will walk as though it has, because in truth it already has. This inner conviction transforms the way you speak, act, and carry yourself. You radiate completion, and life mirrors that wholeness back to you. So live now in the joy of fulfillment, and the outer world will unfold itself to prove you right. The secret to effortless manifestation lies in naturalness. When something feels natural to you, it requires no strain, no effort, and no constant reminder. It simply is. To manifest your desires, you must bring them into this same realm of ease, where they feel ordinary, familiar, and already yours. Desire fulfilled should not feel like a distant dream or an impossible miracle. It should feel like the most natural state of being, as though life could not be any other way. Forcing a desire only creates resistance. When you push, when you try to make it happen by effort or willpower, you affirm its absence. You are declaring that it is not yet yours, that you must struggle to obtain it. True creation does not work this way. All manifestation flows from assumption. An assumption requires a quiet acceptance, not a frantic chase. The more you relax into the feeling of having, the faster it takes root within you. Naturalness is the sign that the seed has been planted deeply. Think of the things you already possess in life. Do you struggle to believe in them? Do you wake up each morning reminding yourself that you have a home, or that you can breathe, or that you are alive? No, these things are natural. You take them for granted because they are a part of your reality. In the same way, when you take your desires for granted, when you live as though they are no longer wishes but simple facts, you have reached the state of naturalness. And once you dwell there, manifestation becomes inevitable. To reach this state, you must train your imagination. In quiet moments, step into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not with tension, but with ease. Let it be simple. Imagine the scene that implies its fulfillment, and instead of straining to believe, relax into it. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the calm assurance of already having what you desire. At first, it may feel unfamiliar, even forced, but with repetition, the state begins to settle, and soon it becomes second nature. What was once a dream transforms into the most natural thing in the world. The key is to let go of the struggle. You do not need to figure out the how or the when. Those belong to the unseen power that arranges all things. Your only work is to feel the end as natural now. When you carry yourself with that quiet confidence, life bends to meet you. Others will respond to you as though your desire were already fulfilled. Opportunities will align and circumstances will fall into place, not because you forced them, but because you embodied the state. Naturalness is the evidence of faith. It is the sign that you have moved beyond hoping and into knowing. When your desire feels as natural as the rising sun, as ordinary as breathing, it must appear, for the outer world has no choice but to reflect the inner conviction. So do not force, do not struggle, simply rest in the simplicity of already having, and let life mirror back to you the natural state you have claimed within. To rest in the invisible is to anchor yourself in the unseen reality of your imagination rather than the shifting evidence of the senses. The outer world is a shadow, a delayed reflection of inner states. If you make appearances your guide, you will always be tossed about by doubt, fear, and contradiction. But when you learn to trust the invisible, when you know that the unseen assumption is more real than what your eyes behold, you step into the true power of creation. Everything visible today was once invisible. Every invention, every home, Every relationship, every achievement existed first as an idea, as an unseen vision in the mind of one who dared to believe in it. The world you now experience is nothing but crystallized imagination. To look only at appearances is to look at the past, for what is visible now is merely the outpicturing of what was once assumed within. To change your life, you must not fight appearances, but rest in the invisible reality that already holds your desire fulfilled. This rest is not laziness or neglect. It is a calm assurance, a quiet knowing that the unseen is working in your favor. The moment you assume the state of the wish fulfilled, it is done. The invisible world has accepted it. The outer must follow in its time. But if you grow restless, doubting because the senses show no change, you uproot the seed before it can sprout. Patience is not passive. It is confidence in the unseen. Imagine planting a seed in the soil. You do not dig it up each day to check if it is growing. You trust the unseen process beneath the surface. In the same way, when you rest in the invisible, you stop checking appearances for proof. You stop doubting because the outer has not yet rearranged itself. You know the rearrangement is inevitable, for the inner state is already established. Just as the seed must grow into a tree, your assumption must grow into fact. This trust in the invisible frees you from anxiety. You no longer need to chase, struggle, or force circumstances. You know the power that shapes worlds is already at work, unseen but unstoppable. The outer world may appear stubborn, unchanged, even hostile to your desire, but you remain unmoved, for you have seen the truth within, and you know it is greater than any shadow of doubt. When you live this way, the outer begins to shift in ways you could never predict. Doors open, people change, opportunities align, and life rearranges itself to reflect the unseen assumption you held. The law cannot fail. What is established within must manifest without. So rest in the invisible. Trust the unseen more than the seen, the inner more than the outer, the eternal more than the temporary. Appearances will catch up, but they are not your guide. Your guide is the invisible reality you carry in imagination. Hold to it with quiet faith, and soon the outer world will bow to the inner truth you dared to rest in. In truth, there is no limit to what you can manifest, for all things come from the one invisible power within you. By assuming your desires as already fulfilled, by resting in the unseen, by making the feeling of your wish natural, and by trusting the harmony of life, you allow multiple blessings to unfold at once. You are the creator of your world, and as you live from the end, the outer must mirror the richness you carry within. Remember, creation is finished. Your only task is to claim it in imagination and let it flow effortlessly into form. Thank you for listening, and may you walk each day in the joy of fulfillment, knowing that everything you seek is already yours. Discipline is the silent power behind all great transformations. You may hold the highest vision, the deepest desire, but unless you command yourself into alignment, your dream remains an unlit candle. To force yourself to be disciplined is not to fight against your nature, but to remind yourself of your true nature, the one who rules over thought, feeling, and action. Do not wait for motivation. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline is eternal. When you rise each day and choose the order of your thoughts, when you direct your attention toward the image of your fulfilled desire, you are practicing the greatest discipline of all, the discipline of imagination. Discipline is not chains, it is freedom. The one who is undisciplined is at the mercy of moods, opinions, and appearances. But the disciplined one commands the inner world, and by law commands the outer world as well. What you persist in inwardly, disciplined and unwavering, must harden into fact outwardly. Each time you force yourself to hold a thought when your mind wishes to wander, you are shaping destiny. Each time you rise early when you desire to sleep, you are teaching your body who is master. Each time you remain faithful to the vision when circumstances scream otherwise, you are proving your dominion. Discipline is love for your future self. It is the decision to act from the state of the person you wish to be, rather than the person you used to be. When you hold yourself to higher standards, even in secret, you invite the universe to meet you at that level. So force yourself to be disciplined, for in that force lies your freedom. In that order lies your destiny. And in that discipline lies the power to turn imagination into reality. And that book was needed when it has done nothing else. Discipline is the bridge between the invisible world of imagination and the tangible world of manifestation. You may see clearly within your mind the picture of the life you long to live, the wealth you desire to hold, the relationships you wish to experience, but without discipline, it remains only a dream, a fleeting shadow of possibility. The imagination is the seed, yes, but discipline is the soil that allows that seed to take root and grow. Without soil, a seed dries and withers. Without discipline, the most powerful vision dies before it is born. Many people believe that desire alone is enough, that simply wanting something deeply will cause it to appear. But desire without discipline is like wind without direction. It moves, but it carries nothing. Discipline is the structure that guides your energy, your thought, and your focus toward the fulfillment of that vision. It is the decision to persist in the face of resistance, to hold fast to the end you see within, even when the world outside gives you every reason to doubt. The disciplined mind does not wander aimlessly. It returns again and again to the picture of the wish fulfilled. When distractions come, as they surely will, discipline brings you back to your chosen path. It is not about rigidity, nor is it about denying yourself joy. It is about choosing what matters most over what feels easiest in the moment. Discipline asks, will you be loyal to your fleeting moods, or will you be loyal to your future? Every act of discipline is an act of faith in your vision. When you choose to practice stillness instead of noise, when you choose to focus on the image of the outcome rather than the chaos of appearances, you are telling the unseen reality, I believe you are mine. And in time, that unseen becomes the seen, for the world has no choice but to reflect the state you persist in, and persistence is discipline in its purest form. Think of those who achieve great transformations, whether in art, wealth, or personal growth. They are not merely dreamers, they are disciplined dreamers. Their visions are not casual thoughts that pass in and out with the wind. They are held steadily, protected, nurtured by the daily practice of discipline. They wake when they would rather sleep. They persist when it would be easier to quit. They see the end when others see only the struggle. And because of this, their dreams cross the bridge into manifestation. Discipline is love disguised as order. It is your higher self reminding you that greatness does not come by chance but by choice. To refuse discipline is to refuse your own destiny. To embrace discipline is to take your desire by the hand and walk it safely across the bridge from imagination into reality. That bridge is strong, and if you will walk it faithfully, the life you once only dreamed will become the life you now live. Self-mastery is the foundation of all true change. The world around you is nothing more than a mirror reflecting the order or disorder within. Many people spend their lives fighting circumstances, pushing against conditions, trying to alter the external world, while ignoring the only true battleground, the inner self. But external change begins only after inner discipline is mastered. Without mastery of your own thoughts, feelings, and reactions, you are like a ship at sea without a rudder, tossed about by every wave. With mastery, however, you become captain of your destiny, commanding the winds of life instead of being driven by them. To master yourself is to recognize that the outer world has no power over you except the power you grant it. Situations, people, and events appear to influence your life, but in truth, they only reflect your inner state. If you react with fear, anger, or doubt, you are simply feeding the very conditions you wish to escape. But when you cultivate discipline within, discipline of thought, discipline of emotion, discipline of focus, you begin to rule over circumstance. You discover that change does not come from battling appearances. It comes from commanding yourself to remain steadfast in the vision of what you choose to create. Self-mastery does not mean suppressing emotions or denying the reality of challenges. It means refusing to let those challenges dictate who you are or how you act. It is the ability to stand calm when storms rage, to remain faithful to your vision when appearances contradict it, to command your inner dialogue so it speaks of victory, not defeat. Each moment you practice this mastery, you reshape the world around you. For the outer must eventually conform to the inner. Consider how often people delay their dreams, waiting for circumstances to be perfect before they take action or dare to believe. They say, when things improve, then I will focus. When I have more time, then I will discipline myself. But the truth is the opposite. Things improve because you discipline yourself now, not later. The condition of your mind today creates the condition of your world tomorrow. To wait is to surrender your power. To master yourself now is to seize it. Self-mastery requires vigilance. The undisciplined mind will always drift toward excuses, distractions, and old habits. But each time you redirect your attention, each time you remind yourself of who you are and what you are creating, you strengthen the muscle of discipline. It is like training the body. Repetition builds strength. With time, mastery becomes natural. The storms may still come, but you are no longer shaken by them, for you know your authority does not lie in the weather, but in your command of the ship. When you master yourself, circumstances cease to control you. They bend, they shift, they yield to the disciplined mind. The world may resist for a time, but it cannot resist forever. For the law is certain, the outer must reflect the inner. Master yourself, and you master your life. Routine is the architect of destiny. Every life is built not upon isolated moments of inspiration, but upon the quiet repetitions that no one else sees. The habits you choose, the patterns you live by, the little things you do consistently in silence, these become the loud results that the world eventually witnesses. Many people underestimate the power of routine, believing that change comes only through sudden breakthroughs or dramatic effort. Yet it is the daily discipline, repeated faithfully, that lays the foundation for transformation. Routine creates reality. Each day you are shaping your future through what you repeatedly do. If your routine is careless, your results will be uncertain. If your routine is intentional, your results will be certain. Life is not a matter of chance, but a reflection of order, and routine is the order you give to your days. The disciplined one understands this truth. Small actions, repeated over time, create great shifts. Reading a page each morning builds knowledge. Visualizing your fulfilled desire each night builds conviction. Rising early instead of wasting hours builds mastery. None of these acts seem significant in isolation, but their silent repetition forms a reality no one can deny. The undisciplined mind craves novelty. It wants excitement, instant results, and quick rewards. It resists the quiet power of repetition because repetition feels ordinary, but extraordinary lives are built upon ordinary routines. The artist paints every day. The athlete trains daily. The visionary imagines faithfully, even when there is no audience applauding. Their greatness does not come from what they do once, but from what they do again and again. Routine may be silent, but its voice grows louder with time, until the world cannot ignore the results it produces. There is a sacred rhythm in routine. When you repeat actions with focus and purpose, you condition your mind and body to align with your desired outcome. You begin to live as though your vision is already true, and in doing so, you invite reality to catch up with your discipline. This is why those who establish strong routines appear to move through life with greater certainty. Their days are ordered by design, not left to chance. They are not waiting for inspiration. They have created an environment where inspiration has no choice but to arise. Every moment of your day is a choice to strengthen or weaken your reality. If you repeat habits of distraction, your life will echo with wasted potential. If you repeat habits of discipline, your life will echo with fulfillment. It is not what you do occasionally that shapes you, but what you do daily. The world sees only the harvest, but the harvest is born from seeds planted in routine. So guard your habits with devotion. Create routines that align with the person you choose to become. Remain faithful to them even when no one is watching, for the unseen repetition will one day become the undeniable result. Routine creates reality, and your reality is waiting for you to shape it through the discipline of what you do each day. The law of assumption rests upon a simple but profound truth. What you assume to be true consistently and faithfully will harden into fact. Yet this truth cannot operate in a mind that drifts without order. To sustain belief, you must train yourself to remain faithful even when appearances contradict your desire. Without discipline, your assumptions will collapse under the weight of doubt, fear, and circumstance. With order, however, your mind becomes a steady flame, unwavering and constant, until the invisible takes form in the visible. Belief is not a fleeting thought, it is a state of being. To assume the end is to dwell in it, to live as though it were already accomplished, even if the evidence before you says otherwise. But the world has a way of testing conviction. Appearances will rise to challenge your inner stance. Bills may pile, opportunities may seem scarce, Relationships may falter. If your mind is untrained, you will waver, shifting between faith and fear, hope and despair. Such inconsistency delays the manifestation of your desire. This is why order is essential. To practice the law of assumption is to cultivate inner discipline, to command your thoughts and emotions so they align with the reality you have chosen. Each time you refuse to be swayed by appearances, you strengthen the assumption within. Each time you choose faith over fear, you are laying bricks in the foundation of your new reality. It is not enough to assume once, you must assume faithfully, consistently, until assumption becomes your natural state. Order in the mind is like a compass at sea. Without it, you drift aimlessly, carried wherever the winds of circumstance blow. With it, you remain fixed on your chosen destination, regardless of storms. Appearances may tempt you to abandon the journey, but if your inner compass remains steady, the destination is inevitable. The law does not fail, only your loyalty to it falters. To train your mind in order is to practice awareness. Notice when your thoughts wander into doubt. Notice when fear creeps in. Then gently but firmly redirect yourself back to the state of fulfillment. Say within, "It is done, it is mine, it is accomplished." The outer world may laugh at such declarations, but the disciplined mind knows that the outer world is only the echo of yesterday's assumptions. Persist today, and tomorrow must reflect it. Faithfulness is the highest form of discipline. It is easy to believe when all appears favorable, but the true test is to believe when nothing yet affirms your vision. Those who master this remain calm amidst chaos, unwavering in the face of contradiction. And because they do, the world bends to their assumption. Order your mind, remain faithful, and let appearances fade into insignificance. For the law of assumption requires order, and once that order is established within, reality itself has no choice but to obey. Discipline is often mistaken for punishment, a burden placed upon the self to restrict freedom or deny pleasure. But true discipline is not chains, it is inner strength. It is the quiet authority to command your thoughts, feelings, and actions instead of being commanded by them. To live without discipline is to live as a servant of moods and impulses. To live with discipline is to step into mastery, to stand as the ruler of your inner kingdom. But this strength is not forced upon you by another. It is cultivated from within, a choice to lead yourself toward the life you desire. When you understand discipline as strength, you see it not as deprivation, but as empowerment. Each time you choose to hold your tongue instead of speaking in anger, you are strong. Each time you choose to remain faithful to your vision instead of surrendering to doubt, you are strong. Each time you choose action when laziness tempts you into comfort, you are strong. These small victories, often unseen by others, build a reservoir of power within you. The undisciplined mind may be swayed by the noise of circumstance, but the disciplined one stands firm, rooted in conviction. This strength is not harsh or rigid. It is steady, like the trunk of a great tree, flexible enough to bend with the wind, but never broken by it. To command your thoughts does not mean to suppress them, but to direct them. To command your feelings does not mean to deny them, but to channel them toward your chosen end. To command your actions does not mean to live without joy, but to act with intention rather than reaction. Such mastery creates harmony, where every part of you works in unison toward the reality you wish to manifest. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you choose to be. Without it, even the clearest vision dissolves into wishful thinking. With it, Every vision, no matter how impossible it may seem, finds the strength to become fact. For when your thoughts are disciplined, they persist in the image of the fulfilled desire. When your feelings are disciplined, they align with the joy of already having what you seek. When your actions are disciplined, they move you steadily in the direction of your destiny. This triad, thought, feeling, action, creates an unstoppable force when held in order by discipline. To see discipline as punishment is to misunderstand its gift. Punishment weakens, discipline strengthens. Punishment is imposed by fear, discipline is chosen through love. Love for yourself, love for your vision, love for the future you are creating. Each act of discipline whispers, I am worthy of more, and I will not betray myself. It is the proof that you honor your higher self over the passing desires of the moment. So embrace discipline as your strength. Do not resist it, but welcome it, for within it lies freedom. The freedom to rise above circumstance, the freedom to create deliberately, the freedom to live as master of your own life. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is power. Discipline is inner strength. Freedom is a word many chase, yet few understand. People imagine freedom as the absence of rules, the ability to do whatever they please, whenever they please. But such a life, ungoverned and without discipline, quickly becomes chaos. True freedom is not the absence of structure, it is the mastery of self. Freedom is hidden in discipline, for when you rule your own thoughts, feelings, and actions, no external force can rule you. The one who is undisciplined is easily swayed by the world. A harsh word from another can shatter their peace. A temporary setback can break their spirit. A distraction can derail their progress. They are like a leaf in the wind, carried wherever circumstance blows. This is not freedom. It is bondage to every external condition. Yet the disciplined one who has mastered themselves stands unshaken. Their peace does not depend on approval. Their progress does not depend on ease. Their joy does not depend on circumstances. They carry freedom within because they have placed their own being under command. When you master yourself, you no longer need to fight the world around you. No insult can touch your sense of worth because you have disciplined your mind to know who you are. No failure can defeat you because you have disciplined your heart to persist in faith. No temptation can lead you astray because you have disciplined your actions to serve your vision rather than your impulses. You move through life with quiet strength, untouchable by the chaos that rules so many. This is freedom. The kind no authority, no circumstance, no force can ever take away. Discipline frees you because it places you above the control of fleeting moods. Feelings may rise and fall, but you are not their servant. Thoughts may wander, but you guide them back to truth. The world may shift, but you remain steady. In such mastery, you discover that freedom is not found in doing everything, but in doing what matters most. It is not found in escaping responsibility, but in embracing it with clarity and strength. Look at the lives of those who live without discipline. They are imprisoned by habits they cannot break, trapped by desires they cannot control, enslaved by circumstances they cannot rise above. They call it freedom, but in truth it is bondage. Contrast this with the disciplined life, ordered, intentional, steady. Such a person may appear restricted from the outside, but inwardly they are limitless. They have chosen their path, and nothing can move them from it. Freedom comes when you no longer bow to every external influence. Freedom comes when your peace is unshaken, your vision unbroken, your will unmoved. This is why freedom is hidden in discipline. The one who governs themselves cannot be governed by the world. The one who commands themselves cannot be commanded by circumstance. And the one who has mastered themselves has discovered the greatest liberty of all, the freedom to create life not as it is, but as they choose it to be. Discipline is not your enemy, it is your greatest ally. It is the invisible hand that lifts you from who you are into who you are meant to be. It is the bridge that carries your desires into reality, the strength that holds you steady when the world shakes, the quiet order that keeps your faith alive when appearances tempt you to give up. Discipline is not a cage, it is the key, for when you master yourself, nothing outside of you can master you. If you would rise above circumstance, if you would manifest the fullness of your vision, if you would live in freedom, then force yourself to be disciplined. Not just today, not only when it is convenient, but every day, until discipline is no longer a force, but a natural way of being. And when it becomes natural, you will see what few ever see, that the life you dream of is not distant. It is waiting for you on the other side of your discipline. Thank you for listening, and may you choose today to walk in discipline, for in it lies your freedom, your strength, and your destiny.